I mean, the thing hitting the internet right now is Pam Bondi, Trump's Attorney General, or I guess the United States government's Attorney General, Pam Bondi, about free speech that is shocking to a lot of people. I mean, this woman, I told you, when she was nominated, when she was approved, this woman is not qualified to be Attorney General of the United States. She is a partisan hack. She is a blind follower of Trump and nothing more than that. She knows nothing about the law, about her job. She is ignorant and not very smart. So here's what Pam Bondi said in an interview on some Katie and something. Quote, there's free speech and then there's hate speech. And there is no place, especially now, especially after what happened to Charlie, in our society for hate speech, right? She continues, we will absolutely target you, go after you if you are targeting anyone with hate speech. Now, will somebody tell me the difference between this and the woke left? Will somebody tell me anything different between this and what the left argues all the time about hate speech? Will somebody tell me what's the difference between this and what's going on in Europe, which conservatives supposedly argue against? Hate speech is not protected by the First Amendment? Since when? It's exactly hate speech that the First Amendment is there to protect. You don't need to protect niceties. You don't need to protect people when everybody agrees. You don't need to protect people when people are polite. When you need to protect people is when they say things that offend. When they say things that are hateful to some. What does even hate speech mean? Does anybody know how to define hate speech? No, and I've been critical, and many conservatives have been critical of the left's position on hate speech for years and years and years. And I've done whole talks on the fact that hate speech is an invalid concept. And of course, hate speech, speech is violence, all tied together, all connected. So now the Trump administration is adopting the woke left position on hate speech. They're adopting the position of the Europeans on hate speech. Wow. Now, to their credit, many people on the right flipped out over this. Richard Hanania wrote, everyone who didn't like the term woke right needs to watch this. They're not even changing the words around. It's copy and paste. Except it's worse because it's the Attorney General talking like this instead of a women's studies professor. He's absolutely right. This is the Attorney General. She actually has guns in her hand. She actually can destroy your life. She can actually, whether the courts uphold it or not, she can destroy your life in the meantime. She is the government. She is force. She is the police. So for the Attorney General to have this view is 1,000 times worse than some women's studies professor or some kid on campus. So yeah, left, right. Now, it's not just Richard Hanania who's very critical of anybody on the right anyway, but Chris Rufo, who keeps claiming we need to use the tools of government to, redo our institutions and get rid of the left and to do all this stuff, which sounds a lot like what Pam Bundy's suggesting maybe. But even Chris Rufo, this is too far for him. This is extremely concerning, he writes. The distinction is not between free speech and hate speech, but between free speech and organizing illicit activity, engaging in political violence, depriving others of their civil rights, and committing tax or nonprofit fraud. Yeah, I mean, that's how he would like to go after the cases but yeah, he's not happy with her. And it gets worse because Matt Walsh, who basically almost declared a civil war the other day, Matt Walsh, quote, There should be social consequences for people who openly celebrate the murder of an innocent man. Social consequences. But there obviously shouldn't be any legal repercussions for hate speech, which is not even a valid or coherent concept. There is no law against saying hurtful things, and there shouldn't be. God, this is the first time, maybe ever, that I actually agree with Matt Walsh. He's absolutely 100% right on this. Probably for wrong reasons, but that's a different question. Yeah, the conservatives, even on the right, are getting it. Dave Rubin even, right? Dave, unbelievably bad take by Bondi. Worthy of immediate resignation of an attorney general. I agree completely. Hate speech does not exist. You can say mean things about people. We have very specific limitations such as direct calls for violence, but amorphous hate speech does not exist. Charlie would never want this. Yep. People are really upset at Pam Bondi, and I wouldn't be surprised. Then she goes on TV, on Fox News, friendly, so she's not going to get harassed there, but she goes on Fox News, and she says, if you want to go and print posters with Charlie's picture for a vigil, you have to let them do it. That is, the business has to let the employees print posters of Charlie's pictures. You have to let them do it. We can prosecute you for that if you don't. We have right now our civil rights unit looking at that. So the government is now going to force businesses to let its employees use business facilities to organize, print, whatever, political stuff. That's new. The government's going to force them. If they don't agree, they're going to go after them for civil rights violation. I mean, this woman is, I don't think she's nuts. I think she's just stupid. She's incompetent. She certainly should not be Attorney General. And on this, again, Matt Walsh agrees with me. It's shocking today. Matt Walsh agrees with me twice. This is what he says about this particular statement. Get rid of her today. This is insane. Conservatives have fought for decades for the right to refuse service to anyone. We won that fight. Now Pam Bondi wants to roll it all back for no reason? The employee who didn't print the flyer was already fired by his employer. This stuff is being handled successfully through free speech and free markets. This is totally gratuitous and pointless. We need the Attorney General focused on bringing down the left-wing terror cells, not prosecuting Office Depot, for God's sake. Yeah, they're upset because she's gone nuts. She's gone nuts. I mean, she's basically threatening to prosecute businesses who refuse to print flyers, and that the Department of Justice, Civil Rights Division, is looking into cases like that, particularly a case at Office Depot. So yeah, she's there because she will do whatever Trump tells her to do. She will aggressively go after Epstein, I think in this case. She'll, aggressively go after Jeffrey Epstein, and she will back off when Trump tells her to back off. She will do whatever Trump tells her. Now, remember, Attorney General is supposed to be, at least to some extent, an independent entity. It's supposed to be the Department of Justice for the United States, not for the president. Yet she views herself as an attorney for Trump. And look, she's ignorant, and you could tell she's not that smart by her attempt to kind of justify herself. So she posted on Twitter from the Attorney General, Pamela Bondi, an attempt to justify it, right? And here, I'm not going to read you the whole thing, but she conflates a free speech, and then she says, okay, but it's you violate free speech when you call for somebody's violence, threats, assassinations, but then she conflates that again with, here's what she writes. She says, free speech protects ideas, debate, even dissent, but it does not and will never protect violence. Yeah, that's true. But then she says, it is clear that violent rhetoric is designed to silence others from voicing conservative ideals. Really? Violent rhetoric? Violent rhetoric is completely protected by the First Amendment. Free speech includes violent rhetoric. It does not include threats. It does not include incitement to violence. But to talk in violent terms is not a reason to go after people. I mean, God, you have to arrest almost every podcaster out there. And this idea that violent rhetoric is designed to silence conservative ideals, as if conservatives never use violent rhetoric. Have you ever listened to Matt Walsh or Knowles or any of these guys? They don't threaten, they don't incite, but do they ever use violent rhetoric? Absolutely. As do I. It's so even when she's trying to fix it, she can't get it right. She goes after them. She doesn't understand the distinction. She doesn't know the distinctions. She's a partisan hack. She's been hired to go after Trump's enemies. She will use whatever means she has. Again, even if she arrests somebody that ultimately will be exonerated by the courts because it's not a violation of the First Amendment, their lives are likely to be ruined. She can do horrible, horrible things to many, many people. And if you add her up with Kash Patel, I mean, at the federal level, law enforcement in this country is an unmitigated disaster of incompetence and complete and utter bias. Complete dedication to Trump rather than to the truth or to justice or, God forbid, to the law. Yep. You cannot dox a conservative family and think you will be brushed off as free speech. I don't know, doxing? Is doxing not free speech? Is doxing violence? I mean, doxing might be really, really inappropriate and immoral and wrong, but is doxing actually violence? Is doxing a punishable crime? She says you cannot call for someone's murder. True. You cannot swat a member of Congress. I don't know what SWAT means. Do you guys know what SWAT means? You cannot dox a conservative family. You can't? Yeah, I mean, doxing is not illegal. Not in the United States of America. So, yeah, I mean, she should resign tomorrow. If we had a decent president, if we had a president who cared one iota about the rule of law, free speech, he doesn't. Not even a bit. She would be fired tomorrow. But this is a president, when he was asked about Bondi, he was asked about Bondi by a reporter from ABC. And he said, he was asked about hate speech, and he said, Well, you guys at ABC, you guys commit hate speech against me. That's why I'm suing you. You know, just like I've sued all these other companies that have gone after me, hate speech. I'm suing you all. Yeah, going after you. We're going after you. I mean, this is a president who is going after speech. Right now, he is suing the New York Times. Today, he sued the New York Times for $15 billion for defamation and libel. Now, he called it one of the worst and most degenerate newspapers in the history of our country, becoming a virtual mouthpiece for the radical left Democratic Party, accusing them of lying about your favorite president, my family, business, the American First Movement, MAGA, and our nation as a whole. Now imagine if you could sue any newspaper for lying about the nation as a whole. He's a public figure. The standard for defamation is very high for a public figure. But he doesn't care. The point is, all it is intimidation, right? He'll basically, this is a way to say to the New York Times, I'm going to keep after you. I'm going to disrupt your business. I'm going to go after you, do everything I can. And the purpose of all that is to stop you from doing your job. The purpose of that is to silence your criticism of me. And all the other, media, CBS and others have settled with him. They've just written him a check. And you know that as part of that settlement, okay, they're going to downturn the criticism because they don't want to be sued again, have to settle again. This president is the most anti-free speech president of my lifetime. I don't know enough about the history of presidents before that. But this is just, horrific. He could sue me for calling him a moron, or for, saying his administration is corrupt. For $15 billion, he could sue me. And then what? I'd have to take all my money and defend it against a lawsuit. I couldn't do the show. He would silence me, effectively. So, this is a silencing tactic. This is a way to use his power as president, to silence his opposition. It's about as un-American as it gets. It's worse than anything Biden did vis-a-vis free speech. I mean, the lawsuits against the law firms, it's unconscionable that a president would be allowed to do this. I mean, any one of these should be impeachable offenses. All of this is much more significant than the impeachment over the Ukraine phone call in 2018, 2019. I mean, these things he should be impeached about. We'll get to the corruption in a minute. Another impeachable offense. But it really is amazing to me that he gets away with it. Nobody cares. The conservatives all get all riled up when Pam Bondi says something really, really stupid. But are they going to be upset by all these lawsuits by Donald Trump? Sitting president? It's not just a lawsuit of a private citizen. It's a sitting president. Here's a question for you in terms of free speech. And I'm not sure I know the answer exactly to this. In terms of how we exactly define free speech, right? Or how do we exactly define incitement to violence? So this is Hassan. This is a socialist guy, massive following on the left, and this is him in a podcast. I'm going to just read you what he says. He says, kill
those motherfuckers and murder those motherfuckers.
kill those, murder them in the street. Let the streets soak in their fucking red capitalist blood. Yeah, kill them. Now, is that protected speech? Right? Is that protected speech? If he's just talking like capitalists in general, is that incitement? Probably it is protected speech. I'd be curious to see how a Supreme Court would rule about this. This is the kind of violent rhetoric that is probably permissible, unless he's talking about a specific group, unless it's actionable, unless he's talking about specific people. I don't know, those people at BlackRock, go after them. So could he be prosecuted for that? And there were other clips of him basically, broadly speaking, advocating for violence. Not specifically, not go kill him. Not let's meet at 3 o'clock and burn that down. But generally, violent rhetoric associated with destroying the capitalist world. I think as long as it's broad, vague like that, as long as it's not specific, it's protected speech. It's protected speech. But by the way, put aside protected speech a second, put aside the free speech issue a second. That is Hassan. That is, probably one of the most influential voices now on the far left. By the way, he was very condemnatory of the assassination of Kirk. So, which I found bizarre, given let the streets be soaked in blood. Of course, it's easy to say stuff like that when it's theoretical. It's different when the streets get soaked with blood and suddenly you realize, whoa, that could be me. Yes. This is who radicalizes. I mean, this guy radicalizes many young people, many Gen Zers. This is who is good friends with Mamdani, who's almost certainly going to win New York. This is a major voice on the left.